You walk into a meeting. You are nervous. You want them to like you. You want them to respect you. So what do? You talk. You fill the silence. You crack a joke to lighten the mood. You smile too much. You nod your head aggressively while others are speaking. You are performing. And in your mind, you think, I am being engaging. I am showing high energy. But to everyone else in the room, you are broadcasting a signal loud and clear. And that signal is, please validate me. The moment you ask for validation, you lose respect. Kings do not ask for validation. They grant it. Leaders do not dance for attention. They command it by simply existing. Chapter 1 is about destroying the biggest lie in leadership. The lie that loud is strong. We live in a noisy world. Everyone is screaming for attention on social media. Everyone is interrupting each other on podcasts. In a world of noise, silence is not just empty space. Silence is a vacuum, and power rushes into a vacuum. The paradox of effort. Imagine a chihuahua barking at a fence. It is frantic. It is loud. It is moving constantly. Now imagine a lion sitting on a rock. It is still. It is silent. It barely blinks. Which one are you afraid of? Which one do you respect? The chihuahua is exerting maximum effort because it feels small. It has to prove it is dangerous. The lion exerts zero effort because it knows it is dangerous. Most people navigate life with chihuahua energy. They over-explain their emails. They apologize for things that aren't their fault. They fidget with their hands. They laugh at jokes that aren't funny. This is low-status behavior. It signals to the primal brain of everyone around you. I am not safe. I am anxious. Do not trust me with power. To become a sovereign leader, you must stop trying to add more. You must start subtracting. You must subtract the fidgeting. Subtract the nervous laughter. Subtract the apologies. You must do less, but with greater weight. What is a sovereign? The word sovereign comes from the Latin superanus. It means above. In political terms, a sovereign state is one that answers to no external authority. It rules itself. To be a sovereign leader, you must be internally self-governing. You do not need your boss to tell you you did a good job. You know you did. You do not need your spouse to tell you you are attractive. You know you are. You do not need the room to laugh at your joke. You found it funny. When you stop needing things from other people, you become dangerous to them. Not physically dangerous, psychologically dangerous. Because they cannot manipulate you. They cannot bribe you with compliments. They cannot hurt you with insults. You are a fortress, and humans are biologically wired to follow the strongest fortress. The try hard filter. I want you to audit your interactions from yesterday. Think about a conversation where you felt awkward. Did you speak too fast? Did you interrupt the silence because it felt uncomfortable? This is the try hard filter. When you try hard, you die. In dating, the person who texts back instantly and double texts is the one with lower value. In sales, the salesperson who talks the most loses the deal. In negotiation, the person who speaks first loses the leverage. The person who cares the least about the outcome holds the most power. This doesn't mean you don't care about the result. It means you are not emotionally attached to the approval of the other person. The Law of Scarcity Economics 101. The more there is of something, the less it is worth. If you print $1 trillion, the dollar becomes worthless. If you speak 1 trillion words, your words become worthless. Have you ever met someone who rarely speaks? But when they finally open their mouth, the entire room shuts up. Why? Because their words are scarce. They have created a market value for their opinion by withholding it. You, on the other hand, are giving your opinion away for free, constantly. You are flooding the market. I think we should do this. Also, I feel like... And another thing, stop. See how powerful that was? I stopped speaking, and you leaned in. You waited for me. I controlled the timing. Therefore, I controlled the frame. Real-life application, the 3-second rule. We are going to solve a real problem right now, the problem of being interrupted or ignored. You are at dinner. You try to tell a story. Someone cuts you off. You stop. You feel small. Or you are in a meeting. You speak, and people keep checking their phones. Here is the fix. It is not about shouting. It is the 3-second rule. Before you answer any question, and before you make any statement, you must wait 3 seconds. Count them in your head. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Then speak. This does 3 things. It shows confidence. Only a person who is not afraid of being interrupted dares to wait. It formulates the thought. You will speak more clearly because you took time to think. It creates tension. The other person wonders, why aren't they answering? That tension pulls their attention to you. Try this today. When someone asks, "How was your weekend?" do not blurting out, "Good, great, I went to the park." Look them in the eyes. Wait 3 seconds. Smile slowly. It was restful. Thank you for asking. The difference in energy is massive. The first response is a child. The second response is a sovereign. The body doesn't lie. We will go deep into body language in Chapter 3, but we must address the basics now. Your body is leaking your insecurity. The nod. Stop nodding like a bobblehead when someone is talking. Nod once, slowly, to acknowledge. Constant nodding screams, "Please like me." The hands. Stop touching your face. Stop fixing your hair. Keep your hands still. Stillness is status. The throat. Stop clearing your throat before you speak. It signals, "I'm about to intrude, sorry." Just speak. The action plan for Chapter 1. We are going to start small. We are not going to change your whole personality overnight. We are going to install the filter. Step 1. The silence audit. Today, in every conversation, I want you to be the one who speaks less. Aim for a 80-20 ratio. Let them speak 80%, you speak 20%. Watch how uncomfortable they get. Watch how they try to fill the silence. Realize that they are the ones performing for you. Step 2. Eliminate the filler. Kill these words from your vocabulary immediately. Like. I guess. Sort of. Just. I just wanted to check in. If you don't know what to say nothing. Silence is better than Silence looks like thinking. Looks like stalling. Step 3. The doorway reset. Every time you walk through a doorway today, check your jaw. Is it clenched? Relax it. Check your shoulders. Are they up by your ears? Drop them. Walk into the room like you own the building, not like you are visiting it. This journey is not easy. It is easier to be a loud clown than a silent king. The clown gets immediate attention. The king gets long-term respect. You have been the clown long enough. You have danced for their amusement long enough. It is time to take the throne. But first, we must conquer the kingdom inside your own head. You cannot rule others if you are a slave to your own anxiety. In the next chapter, we are going to talk about the sovereign state. We are going to kill imposter syndrome. We are going to teach you how to feel like you belong in the room, even when you have less money, less experience, and less fame than everyone else. Stop talking. Start ruling. Chapter 2. The Sovereign State, Killing Imposter Syndrome by Ruling Yourself. First, let's talk about the voice in your head. You are about to give a presentation, or you are about to negotiate a salary, or you are walking into a room full of people who have more money, better suits, and deeper voices than you. And the voice whispers, "Who do you think you are? You don't belong here. They are going to find out you are a fraud. You are a child wearing your father's suit." This is imposter syndrome, and it is the primary reason you are not a leader. Because you cannot command a room if you cannot command your own mind. If you are at war with yourself, you have no energy left to lead others. A country in the middle of a civil war cannot invade another territory. It is too busy fighting itself. You are in a civil war. One part of you wants to rule. The other part of you wants to hide. Chapter 2 is about ending the civil war. It is about establishing a sovereign state inside your own skull. It is about the realization that nobody is coming to knight you. Nobody is coming to give you the crown. You have to take it off the table and put it on your own head. The anatomy of the fraud. Why do you feel like a fraud? Because you are comparing your internal footage with everyone else's highlight reel. You know your own doubts. You know you stayed up until 2 a.m. worrying about the font size on the slide. You know you almost threw up in the bathroom. But when you look at the other leaders in the room, what do you see? You see the suit, the smile, the firm handshake. You see the exterior, and you assume their interior matches their exterior. I am here to tell you a secret. They are all faking it. Every single person in that room is terrified of being exposed. The CEO is worried about the board. The board is worried about the shareholders. The shareholders are worried about the market. Fear is the baseline human condition. The difference between the sovereign and the imposter is not the absence of fear. It is the relationship with fear. The imposter lets fear drive the car. The sovereign puts fear in the trunk and drives anyway. The fake it till you make it trap. You have heard the advice, fake it till you make it. This is dangerous advice, because when you fake something, you are admitting to your subconscious that you are a liar. You are acting. And actors are always afraid of forgetting their lines. Do not fake it. Embody it. There is a biological difference. Faking it is putting on a mask. Embodying it is stepping into a role. When a firefighter runs into a burning building, are they faking bravery? No. They are terrified. But they have accepted the identity of a firefighter. And firefighters run into fire. That is what they do. They are not pretending. They are executing a function. You must choose your identity. I am the leader. Leaders make decisions. Leaders stay calm. Leaders listen. When you walk into the room, do not try to impress. Simply ask, what would a sovereign do in this situation? Then do that. That isn't faking. That is duty. The Napoleon Protocol, self-coronation. There is a famous story about Napoleon Bonaparte. When the Pope came to crown him Emperor of France, Napoleon did something unthinkable. In the middle of the ceremony, he took the crown from the Pope's hands, and he placed it on his own head. He sent a message to the world. I did not receive this power from God. I did not receive it from the church. I took it. You are waiting for the Pope. You are waiting for your boss to say, you are now a senior manager. You are waiting for the market to say, you are now a success. You are waiting for permission. Sovereigns do not ask for permission. You must mentally crown yourself. You must decide right now that you belong at the table. Not because you are the smartest, not because you are the richest, but because you are there. You occupy the space. Therefore, the space is yours. This is a shift in physics. When you enter a room waiting for permission, you shrink. When you enter a room having already granted yourself permission, you expand. The evidence log imposter syndrome is an emotional response. You cannot fight emotion with logic alone. You need evidence. Your brain is lying to you. It is deleting your successes and highlighting your failures. We need to retrain the algorithm of your mind. Create a physical note on your phone called the evidence. Write down every hard thing you have survived. Write down every project you delivered. Write down the times you solved a problem nobody else could fix. When the voice says, "You are a fraud," you open the note. You look at the data. I am not a fraud. I navigated the 2020 crisis. I closed the Smith deal. I built this team from nothing. You hit the emotion with a brick of facts. The empty throne visualization. I want you to imagine a throne room inside your mind. At the center, there is a massive chair. Who is sitting in it right now? Is it your father? Is it your critical third-grade teacher? Is it your boss? Is it the cool guy from high school who ignored you? As long as someone else is sitting on the throne in your mind, you are a subject. You are a servant. You are trying to please them. You need to walk up the steps. You need to politely, but firmly, ask them to stand up. Kick them out of the room and sit down. Feel the weight of the chair. Look out at the room. This is your mind. This is your life. You answer to no one but your own code. This visualization is powerful. Do it before every high-stakes meeting. Clear the throne. Take your seat. The I don't know power move imposters are terrified of not knowing the answer. If someone asks a question and they don't know, they panic. They lie. They ramble. They think, if I don't know, I look weak. Sovereigns know the truth. Certainty is not intelligence. The most powerful thing you can say in a boardroom is, I don't know, but I will find out. Or even better, I don't have enough data to answer that yet. Let's look at it. When you admit you don't know, you prove that you are not desperate to impress. You prove that you value the truth more than your image. Paradoxically, this makes people trust you more. Only a secure leader can afford to be ignorant. The insecurity of the imposter forces them to be a know-it-all. Separating self-worth from market value. Here is the final trap. You tie your self-worth to your performance. If the deal closes, I am a god. If the deal fails, I am a worm. This makes you emotionally unstable, and instability smells like fear. You must build an iron core. Your worth as a human being is set. It is unchangeable. You are a sovereign being. Your performance varies. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you lose. But the king is still the king, even if he loses a battle. He doesn't stop being king just because it rained on the parade. When you detach your identity from the outcome, you become terrifyingly calm. You can negotiate harder because you aren't afraid of losing the deal. You can speak the truth because you aren't afraid of being fired. You have walk-away power, and the person with walk-away power always controls the room. Action plan for Chapter 2. Step 1. The audit. Identify who is sitting on your throne. Whose voice are you hearing when you doubt yourself? Name them, then banish them. Step 2. The evidence list. Write down 5 irrefutable facts about your competence. Read them before your next meeting. Step 3. The permission ban. Stop ending your sentences with a question mark. Don't say, I think we should do this. Say, we should do this. Stop looking at others for a nod of approval after you speak. Speak, then look away or look at the next person. Assume you are right until proven wrong. You are not an imposter. You are just new to the throne. The crown is heavy. It is supposed to be heavy. If it were light, everyone would wear it. Adjust your neck. Straighten your back. Wear it. In the next chapter, we are going to move from the mind to the body. You have the mindset of a king. Now you need to move like one. We are going to talk about the architecture of presence, how to occupy space so that people respect you before you even open your mouth. The mind is the general. The body is the army. Let's train the army. Chapter 3. The architecture of presence. How to occupy space before you speak. The moment you walk into a room, the negotiation is already halfway over. You haven't said a word. You haven't shaken a hand. You haven't opened your PowerPoint. But the reptilian brain of every person in that room has already scanned you, categorized you, and decided how to treat you. They have asked two primal questions. Is this person a threat? Is this person a leader? If you walk in with your shoulders rolled forward, your eyes darting around, and your pace hurried, you have answered no. You have signaled prey. You have signaled that you are here to serve, to please, or to hide. If you walk in with your chest open, your head level, and your pace deliberate, you have answered yes. You have signaled sovereign. You have signaled that you own the space you are standing in. Chapter 3 is about the architecture of presence. We are going to rebuild your physical structure. We are going to stop you from apologizing with your body. The biology of expansion. In the animal kingdom, size equals status. When a cobra wants to intimidate, it spreads its hood. When a gorilla wants to rule, it stands on two legs and beats its chest. When a cat is scared, it shrinks. It tries to become invisible. Humans are no different. We just wear suits. When you are insecure, you instinctively protect your vital organs. You cross your arms, protecting the heart. You hunch your shoulders, protecting the neck. You cross your legs, protecting the groin. You make yourself small to avoid being a target. The sovereign does the opposite. The sovereign engages in expansion. By exposing your torso, your neck, and your palms, you are sending a subconscious message. I am not afraid of attack. I am too strong to be hurt. This is the ultimate power move. Vulnerability is not weakness. Vulnerability is the proof of invincibility. The vertical line. I want you to check your posture right now. Most of you are in tech neck mode. Head forward, shoulders rounded. This is the posture of a subordinate. It looks like a bow. To build the sovereign architecture, imagine a steel cable running from the base of your spine, through the top of your head, up to the ceiling. Someone is pulling that cable tight. Shoulders. Drop them down and back. Not stiff, just open. Chin. Level with the horizon. Not up, arrogance. Not down, submission. Solar plexus. Lifted slightly. When you align your spine, you breathe deeper. When you breathe deeper, your voice gets lower. When your voice gets lower, people listen. It is all connected. The sovereign walk, the pace of power. How fast do you walk? Most people walk like they are late. They are rushing to the next meeting, rushing to the bathroom, rushing to lunch. Rushing signals. I am not in control of my time. Time is chasing me. The king never rushes. The king walks at a pace that says, the meeting starts when I arrive. The drill. Slow down your walking speed by 20%. Take longer strides. Feel your heel strike the floor. When you walk slower than everyone else in a busy hallway, you create a disruption in the flow. People will instinctively move out of your way. You become a rock in the river. The water moves around you. Territoriality, taking the table. When you sit down at a conference table, what do? The imposter keeps their notebook on their lap. They keep their elbows tucked into their ribs. They contain themselves within the square footage of their chair. They are essentially saying, I will not disturb you. I will not take your resources. The sovereign practices territoriality. The spread. Put your notebook on the table. Put your phone on the table. Put your water on the table. Spread them out slightly. Claim the 12 inches of real estate in front of you. The elbows. Do not tuck them. Put your forearms on the table or armrests. Widen your frame. The lean. Do not lean forward eagerly. Lean back slightly. Leaning forward says, I want something from you. Leaning back says, I am evaluating you. This is not about being a jerk. You don't take someone else's space. But you must unapologetically fill your space. If you shrink physically, you will shrink mentally. The hands of the king. What are your hands doing? Are they fidgeting? Are they playing with a pen? Are they ringing together? Fidgeting is leakage. It leaks nervous energy. It distracts the viewer from your words. The steeple. You have seen this. Fingertips touching, palms separated. It looks like a church steeple. This is the universal hand gesture of confidence. It shows precision. It shows calmness. Use it when you are listening. The palms. When you speak, show your palms. Hidden hands trigger the weapon detection instinct in the human brain. What is he hiding? Open palms signal truth. I have no weapon. You can trust me. Trust plus power. Charisma. The eye-level rule. Never let yourself be looked down upon physically. If someone is standing, you stand. Do not have a conversation where you are seated and they are looming over you. It creates a psychological disadvantage. If they come to your desk to talk, stand up. Good to see you. Now you are eye to eye. You have neutralized their height advantage. If you cannot stand, e.g. in a meeting, invite them to sit. Pull up a chair. Level the playing field. Sovereigns deal with peers, not giants. The art of stillness. We talked about the lion. The most intimidating aspect of a predator is its economy of motion. It doesn't move unless it needs to. When you are in a high-stakes conversation, freeze. Stop nodding. Stop blinking rapidly. Stop shifting your weight. Turn yourself into a statue. Only move your head to look at the person speaking. This creates gravitas. It makes you look incredibly focused and incredibly dangerous. People will find your stillness unnerving. They will start talking more to fill the void. They will reveal things they didn't mean to reveal. All because you just sat there and breathed. Action plan for Chapter 3. Step 1. The doorway drill. Every time you walk through a door today, perform a system check. Shoulders back, chin up, hands out of pockets. Enter the room. Step 2. The table claim. In your next meeting, put your items on the table. Take up 10% more space than you usually do. Put one arm on the back of the chair next to you, if it's empty. Own the zone. Step 3. The 20% slow down. Walk to your car or the bus stop slower than usual. Feel the anxiety rise. I need to hurry. Suppress it. Walk slow. Force the world to wait for you. You cannot command respect if you look like you are apologizing for your existence. Your body is the hardware. Your words are the software. If the hardware is broken, the software doesn't matter. Build the cathedral. Stand tall. Occupy the space. It was yours all along. In the next chapter, we are going to focus on the most powerful weapon in your physical arsenal, the only part of your brain that is visible from the outside, the eyes. We are going to talk about the eyes of the king, how to hold eye contact until they look away. Stand up straight. Let's go. Chapter 4. The Eyes of the King. The neurobiology of unbreaking eye contact. The eyes are the only part of the human brain that is visible from the outside. Think about that. When you look into someone's eyes, you are not looking at a surface. You are looking at their nervous system. You are looking at their raw biological electricity. This is why eye contact is so difficult. It is intense because it is literally a neural connection. When you lock eyes with someone, your amygdala, the danger center of your brain, lights up. It asks, fight, flight, or mate? Most people cannot handle this voltage, so they look away. They look down at their shoes. They look at their phone. They look at the wall. They break the circuit to lower the pressure. This is the submission reflex. In the animal kingdom, looking away is a white flag. It means, I am not a threat. Please do not hurt me. The sovereign leader never waves the white flag. The sovereign understands that the person who breaks eye contact first is the person who has surrendered the frame. Chapter 4 is about the eyes of the king. It is not about staring people down like a psychopath. It is about developing a gaze so heavy, so calm, and so absolute that others feel compelled to look away, not out of boredom, but out of respect. The predator versus the king. There is a misconception about strong eye contact. People think it means widening your eyes and staring without blinking. That is not leadership. That is insanity. That is the predator stare. It triggers a fight or flight response in others. They won't trust you. They will fear you. And fear is a brittle foundation for loyalty. The sovereign gaze is different. It is relaxed. It is soft. It is curious. Imagine you are looking at a beautiful painting in a museum. You aren't trying to intimidate the painting. You are absorbing it. You are studying it. That is how you look at your subjects. You are not trying to drill a hole in their head. You are trying to see who they are. The neurobiology of the blink. Pay attention to how fast you blink. When people are nervous, their blink rate skyrockets. It is a flutter. The brain is overwhelmed, so it shutters the windows. Rapid blinking signals. I am processing too much information. I am panicking. The sovereign blinks slowly. A slow blink communicates. I am safe. I am calm. Nothing here surprises me. The drill. Next time you are in a conversation, consciously slow down your eyelids, close them fully, open them fully. It feels like it takes an eternity. But to the other person, it looks like ultimate confidence. It says, I have all the time in the world. The geometry of power. The triangle. Where exactly do you look? If you look at both eyes at once, your eyes will dart back and forth. You will look shifty. You need a target. There is a hidden geometry to eye contact. It is called the gaze triangle. 1. The social triangle, friendly. This is eye-eye-mouth. When you look at someone's mouth, it signals sensuality or friendship. It is soft. Use this at dinner parties. 2. The power triangle, business. This is eye-eye forehead, specifically the third eye spot between the eyebrows. When you keep your gaze in this upper triangle, you are shutting down the emotional connection and increasing the analytical pressure. You are saying, I am analyzing you. I am serious. If you are negotiating a raise or correcting an employee, use the power triangle. Do not look at their mouth. Look at their forehead. It makes them feel scrutinized. It makes them feel like you can read their mind. They will often stumble or reveal the truth just to break the tension. The sticky eyes technique. This is a subtle move that separates the amateur from the master. Most people break eye contact the millisecond they finish talking. They say, "I think we should do the deal," and immediately look down at their papers. This signals, "I hope you liked what I said. Please don't judge me." The sovereign uses sticky eyes, adapted from Lyle Lowndes. When you finish your sentence, do not look away. Keep your eyes stuck to their eyes. Let the silence hang. Wait for them to break the contact. Wait for them to speak. This is called holding the tension. The person who can hold the tension the longest wins the exchange. If you look away first, you release the pressure valve. Keep the pressure on. Let them cook in it. Handling the challenge. Eye wrestling. What happens when you meet another sovereign? You lock eyes. Neither of you looks away. The tension builds. This is eye wrestling. If you look down, you lose status. If you keep staring, it becomes a fight. How do you break the lock without losing the frame? You use the side break. The rule: never look down. Looking down is submission. It exposes the neck. Instead, look to the side. Look out the window. Look at the whiteboard. Look at a passing waiter. Looking to the side signals, "I am distracted by something else." It signals, "You are not the most important thing in the room anymore." It is a dismissal, not a submission. Then, slowly bring your eyes back to them. You have broken the tension on your terms. The soul scan, deep connection. There is a level beyond dominance. There is connection. Sometimes you don't want to intimidate. You want to inspire. You want your team to feel loved and seen. To do this, you must change your internal monologue. When you look at someone, do not think, "Listen to me." Think, "I see you." Look past the iris. Look into the pupil. Imagine you are looking for the little child inside the adult. Imagine you are seeing their fears, their hopes, their pain. When you look at someone with this level of empathy and focus, a chemical reaction happens. Their brain releases oxytocin, the bonding chemical. They feel understood. They feel safe. They will follow you not because they have to, but because they want to. This is the gaze of the good king. Real life application. The waiter drill. You cannot practice this in the boardroom on day one. The stakes are too high. You practice in the low-stakes arena. The drill. When you go to a coffee shop or restaurant today, look at the server. Do not just glance. Look them in the eyes. Notice the color of their eyes. Do not look away until they look away first. Usually, this takes about 1.5 seconds. Smile while you do it. If you don't smile, you look creepy. If you smile, you look charming. Notice how they react. Usually, they will stand up straighter. They will smile back. They will give you better service. Why? Because for the first time all day, someone treated them like a human being, not a vending machine. You gave them the gift of your presence. The zoom out, defeating intimidation. What if you are the one being stared down? What if your boss is drilling holes in your head and you feel the urge to look down? Use the zoom out. Stop focusing on their pupils. Soften your focus so you see their whole face at once. Look at their eyebrows. Look at their nose. By defocusing your eyes slightly, you reduce the intensity of the connection for you, but to them, it still looks like you are holding strong eye contact. This is your shield. It allows you to stay in the pocket without getting knocked out by the neural voltage. Action plan for Chapter 4. Step 1. The color audit. For the next 24 hours, your goal is to identify the eye color of every single person you speak to. Bob has blue eyes. Sarah has hazel eyes. This forces you to hold contact just a second longer than usual. Step 2. The power triangle. In your next serious conversation, focus on the spot between their eyebrows. Notice if they start to fidget. Notice if they stumble. That is the power working. Step 3. The slow blink. Record a video of yourself speaking. Watch your eyes. Are you fluttering? Practice speaking to the camera with heavy, slow lids. Master the eyelids. Master the room. The eyes are the heavy artillery of presence. Words can lie. Posture can be faked. But the eyes transmit the truth of your spirit. If your spirit is anxious, your eyes will dart. If your spirit is sovereign, your eyes will rest. Stop looking for the exit. Look at the person in front of you. Be the one who stays. In the next chapter, we are going to close your mouth. We are going to talk about the loudest sound in the universe. We are going to talk about the power of the pause, using silence as a weapon to make people reveal everything. Hold the gaze. Don't blink. Chapter 5. The power of the pause, using silence as a weapon in negotiation. Silence is the loudest sound in the universe. Most people are terrified of it. In a conversation, silence feels like a vacuum. It feels like a drop in pressure. It signals a disconnect. And because humans are social animals desperate for connection, we rush to fill the void. We fill it with nervous laughter. We fill it with, like, and you know. We fill it with justifications. We fill it with lower prices and compromised standards. But the sovereign leader does not fear the void. The sovereign creates the void. Chapter 5 is about the power of the pause. It is about unlearning the habit of keeping the conversation going. It is about realizing that the person who is most comfortable with silence is the person who controls the room. The physics of the vacuum nature abhors a vacuum. If you create a space of empty air, matter rushes in to fill it. Conversation works the same way. If you create a space of silence, information rushes in to fill it. Or concessions rush in to fill it. Or truth rushes in to fill it. When you stay silent, you create a high-pressure system for the other person. Their brain screams, "The connection is broken. Fix it. Say something. Anything." So they start talking. And usually, when people talk because they are nervous, they reveal things they intended to keep hidden. They tell you the real budget. They admit it was their fault. They lower their asking price. All because you simply waited. The walk-away negotiation. Let's look at a classic negotiation scenario. You are buying a car, or you are negotiating your salary. You state your number. I am looking for $150,000. Then, the most dangerous moment occurs. The silence. The employer looks at you. They don't say anything immediately. Your amygdala panics. They hate it. It's too high. They are going to retract the offer. I look greedy. So you break the silence. But you know, I'm flexible. I could do $140,000, depending on the benefits. You just lost $10,000 in 3 seconds. You negotiated against yourself. They didn't have to say a word. They just waited, and you crumbled. The sovereign protocol requires you to state and wait. I am looking for $150,000. Zip your lips. Put your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Do not make a sound. Let the silence stretch. Let it get awkward. The awkwardness is the heat that melts their resistance. Eventually, they will speak. Well, that's higher than we budgeted, but maybe we can move some things around. You won. Not because you had a better argument, but because you had better nerves. The "is that it" technique, the truth extractor. Have you ever asked someone a question and gotten a polished BS answer? Why was the project late? Oh, well, marketing didn't send the files on time. The average leader accepts this. Okay, make sure they send them next time. The sovereign knows there is more. The technique. When they give you the BS answer, nod once, and then stare at them. Look them right in the power triangle. Chapter 4. Do not speak. Wait for 4 to 5 seconds. Here is what happens in their brain. Second 1. Phew, I gave the excuse. Second 2. Wait, why isn't he talking? Second 3. He doesn't believe me. Second 4. I need to give him the real reason or I'm in trouble. Then they will speak again. Also, I honestly just procrastinated on the review. I'm sorry. Boom. The truth. The silence acted like a siphon. It pulled the truth out of the deep well. You didn't have to yell. You didn't have to interrogate. You just held the space open long enough for the truth to fall out. The parsing pause. Looking intelligent. We talked about the 3-second rule in Chapter 1. Let's go deeper. Fast talkers are perceived as anxious or salesy. Slow talkers are perceived as thoughtful and authoritative. When someone asks you a complex question, do not answer immediately. If you answer instantly, it implies you are giving a canned response. It implies you didn't actually think about their specific question. Use the parsing pause. Look away, side break. Look up, as if accessing data from a cloud. Wait 5 seconds, then look back and deliver the answer. This signals, I am treating your question with respect. I am formulating a custom answer. It creates anticipation. It frames your answer as wisdom, not just data. Barack Obama does this famously. He pauses for what feels like an eternity. Does he look confused? No. He looks like he is selecting the perfect word from a library of options. And because he waits, you listen to every word he says. The emotional granite, de-escalation. Silence is also your shield against aggression. If someone is yelling at you, insulting you, or being emotional, the instinct is to yell back, to defend. I didn't do that! This is the Chihuahua barking back at the fence. If you argue, you validate their anger. You bring yourself down to their level. The sovereign uses the wall of silence. Let them yell. Let them vent. Stand perfectly still. Chapter 3. Maintain eye contact. Do not speak. Eventually, they will run out of oxygen. They will run out of words. And then, the silence will hit them. They will hear the echo of their own screaming in the quiet room. They will realize how foolish they look. They will start to backtrack. I'm just frustrated, that's all. Then, and only then, do you speak. And you speak quietly. Are you finished? You have maintained your dignity. You have maintained control. You defeated the storm by becoming a stone. Internal monologue. What to think during silence. The reason you hate silence is because your internal monologue is panicking. This is awkward. Say something. They are judging me. You need to replace the script. When you are holding a pause, repeat these mantras in your head. I am waiting. Simple, factual. Go on. Projecting curiosity. I have all the time in the world. Projecting abundance. Dig the hole. If they are lying, let them keep talking until they trap themselves. Change the thought, and the body language will follow. You will look relaxed, not constipated. The telephone drill. This technique is even more powerful on the phone because you lack visual cues. On a call, silence feels like the line is dead. The pressure is doubled. Next time you are on a business call and you make a request, I need this report by Friday. Stop talking. Do not add, if that's okay, or is that possible? Just stop. Hear the static on the line. Force them to fill it with a yes. If they hesitate, let them hesitate. Do not rescue them. Well, silence. Yeah, I guess I can do Friday. If you had spoken, they would have said Monday. The silence bought you the weekend. The slow no, saying no, is hard. We want to soften the blow. I'd love to, but I'm really busy right now, maybe next time. This is weak. The sovereign uses the slow no. When someone asks for a favor you cannot do, pause for 3 seconds. Show you considered it. Look them in the eye. Say, I can't do that. Silence. Do not offer an excuse. Chapter 6 is coming next, the zero justification rule. Do not say because, just let the no hang in the air. It is heavy. It is final. It commands respect because it establishes a boundary that cannot be negotiated. Action plan for Chapter 5. Step 1. The coffee shop challenge. Go to a coffee shop. Order your drink. When they ask, anything else? Look them in the eye. Wait 3 seconds. Then say, no. Feel the awkwardness. Survive it. Realize that nobody died. Step 2. The 24-hour ban. Record yourself on a call. Count the ums. Make a pact. Every time you want to say you will just close your mouth. It will feel like your speech is choppy. To the listener, it will sound measured and thoughtful. Step 3. The negotiation simulation. Find a low-stakes situation, maybe asking your partner where they want to eat. Where do you want to go? Wait. If they say, I don't know, wait longer. Do not suggest a place. Force them to make a decision by withholding your own input. Noise is cheap. Silence is expensive. When you speak constantly, you are inflating the currency of your words. When you hold back, you create scarcity. The next time you feel the urge to fill the gap, don't. Lean back. Look at them. And let them do the work for you. You are the sovereign. You do not chase. You wait. In the next chapter, we are going to talk about the words you do say. Specifically, the words you use to explain yourself. We are going to teach you to stop apologizing. We are going to talk about the zero justification rule. Silence. Chapter 6. The zero justification rule. Stop explaining yourself to your subjects. Think back to when you were a child. You broke a vase, or you didn't do your homework. Your mother or your teacher looked at you and asked, why? And what did you do? You explained. I didn't mean to. The dog ate it. I was tired. You learned a dangerous lesson in childhood. If I can explain myself well enough, I won't be punished. You learned that justification is your shield against authority. But you are not a child anymore. You are not a student. And you are not the defendant. Yet you still walk through life acting like you are on trial. You turn down a dinner invitation, and you send a 3-paragraph text explaining why you are too busy, how your stomach hurts, and how you really wanted to go. You miss a deadline, and you send your boss a novel about the internet outage and the unexpected phone call. You think you are being polite. You think you are being transparent. You are wrong. You are signaling submission. Chapter 6 is about the zero justification rule. It is about the harsh reality of power dynamics. The person explaining is the person losing. The judge and the defendant. Every interaction has a frame. In the frame of explanation, there are 2 roles. The judge, the person listening to the excuse. They have the power to accept it or reject it. The defendant, the person giving the excuse. They are waiting for the verdict. When you explain yourself to your employee, you make them the judge. When you explain yourself to your child, you make them the judge. When you explain yourself to a client, You make them the judge. You are handing them the gavel. You are saying, "Please validate my decision. Please tell me I am still a good person." The sovereign leader does not seek validation. The sovereign leader makes a decision. The decision is the validity. The jade trap. Psychologists have an acronym for this behavior. JADE: justify, argue, defend, explain. These are the 4 behaviors of a defensive posture. When someone questions you, "Why is the price so high?" your instinct is to jade. "Well, labor costs are up, and we use premium materials, and actually, if you look at the market," you sound defensive. You sound unsure. You sound like you are trying to convince yourself as much as them. The sovereign approach is assertion. Why is the price so high? The price reflects the value of the outcome. It is the cost of getting it done right. Silence. Do you feel the difference? The first response asks for permission. The second response establishes a reality. The weakness of because. We are taught that because is a magic word, and in persuasion, it is. E.g., can I cut in line because I'm in a rush? But in leadership, because is a leak. Every time you add a because, you dilute the power of your no. Strong. I cannot meet on Tuesday. Weak. I cannot meet on Tuesday because I have a dentist appointment, and my car is in the shop. Why is the second one weak? Because it gives the other person a target. If you say, "I have a dentist appointment," they can say, "Oh, just reschedule it. This meeting is urgent." Now you are arguing about your dentist appointment. You are trapped. You gave them a hook to hang their negotiation on. If you say, "I cannot meet on Tuesday," there is no hook. There is nothing to argue with. It is a wall of granite. Tuesday is unavailable. How is Wednesday? The social lie. This destroys you socially. Your friend invites you to a party. You don't want to go. You want to sleep. The imposter says, "I'd love to, but I have so much work to do, and my mom is visiting." You lie, and your friend knows you are lying. They sense the hesitation. They sense the guilt. This erodes trust. They start to see you as flaky. The sovereign respects their friends enough to be honest, or at least concise. "I appreciate the invite, but I'm sitting this one out. I need a recharge night." That's it. No drama, no lie. Your friend might be disappointed, but they will respect you. They know that when you do say yes, you mean it. Teaching versus justifying. There is a critical distinction here. I am not telling you to be a mysterious, silent jerk who never communicates. Leaders must teach. Teaching. Explaining the strategic reason behind a decision so the team can learn and execute better. Context. Proactive. Goal, clarity, and alignment. Example. We are cutting the marketing budget because we need to invest in product development this quarter. Justifying. Explaining the personal excuse behind a decision so you don't get in trouble. Context. Reactive. Goal, absolution and forgiveness. Example. We had to cut the budget because the board is yelling at me and sales were low last month, sorry. Do you see the difference? Teaching comes from strength. Justifying comes from fear. Before you speak, ask, am I trying to help them understand the mission? Or am I trying to make them like me? The never complain, never explain rule. This was the motto of the British aristocracy and Hollywood stars like Katharine Hepburn. Never complain, never explain. When a rumor spreads about you at work, do not send a mass email denying it. That just amplifies the rumor. It shows you are rattled. Ignore it. Continue working. Your silence kills the rumor because it gives it no oxygen. When you make a mistake, own it, fix it, but do not explain it away. Weak. I missed the deadline because the internet was down. Sovereign. I missed the deadline. That is on me. You will have it by 9 a.m. tomorrow. This is terrifying to do. It requires you to stand naked in your failure without the armor of an excuse. But people trust the person who owns their failure. They do not trust the person who blames the Wi-Fi. Dealing with why? What if they push? What if you say no and they ask why? You do not have to be rude, but you must be vague. Use these 6 policy frame. Them. Why can't you give me a discount? You. It is our policy not to discount this tier of service. It's not you rejecting them, it's the structure. Them. Why can't you come to the wedding? You. It doesn't fit with my current travel schedule. Vague, true, unarguable. Them. Why did you make that decision? You. It was the decision that best aligned with our long-term goals. These answers are polite, but they are closed doors. They do not invite the other person inside to rearrange your furniture. The villain acceptance. Here is the root of the problem. You explain yourself because you are afraid of being the villain. You want everyone to think you are nice. If you say no without an excuse, they might think you are selfish. Let them. A sovereign leader accepts that they will be the villain in someone else's story. You cannot lead effectively if you are obsessed with being liked. You must be obsessed with being effective. Sometimes, being effective means disappointing people. If you fire an incompetent employee, you are the villain in their story. You are the reason they lost their job. If you explain for an hour how hard this is for you, you are making it about your feelings. That is selfish. The kindest thing you can do is be direct, fair, and brief. This isn't working out. Today is your last day. That is respect. Action plan for Chapter 6. Step 1. The email audit. Open your sent folder. Search for the word because. Read those sentences. Are you teaching or are you begging for forgiveness? Rewrite them in your head. Cut the because. See how much stronger they sound. Step 2. The unfortunately ban. Stop starting emails with unfortunately. Unfortunately, I can't. It sounds weak. Just say, I won't be able to. It is neutral. It is professional. Step 3. The hard no challenge. The next time someone asks for a low-stakes favor, a survey, a donation at the checkout, a flyer on the street, say no. Not no thanks. Not today. Just no. Smile when you say it. Keep walking. Feel the surge of power that comes from a boundary without a buffer. Your life belongs to you. Your time belongs to you. Your reasons belong to you. You do not owe the world an explanation for how you spend your capital. When you stop explaining, you stop leaking power. You become a black box. And people respect a black box far more than they respect an open book that apologizes for its own pages. In the next chapter, we are going to talk about your emotional skin, how to stop reacting to every little insult and crisis. We are going to talk about emotional granite, becoming reactive to nothing and responsive to everything. Stop explaining. Start deciding. Chapter 7. Emotional granite. Becoming reactive to nothing, responsive to everything. Imagine a massive granite cliff standing at the edge of the ocean. A hurricane hits. The wind screams at 100 miles per hour. The waves crash against the rock with the force of a bomb. The lightning strikes the peak. What does the granite do? Does it scream back? Does it argue with the wind? Does it try to explain to the waves why it shouldn't be hit? Does it panic? No. It stands there. It accepts the violence of the storm, and it does not move 1 millimeter. And when the storm passes, and the storm always passes, the granite is exactly where it was before, unchanged, unbroken. This is the state of the sovereign leader. This is emotional granite. Most leaders are not granite. They are leaves in the wind. A client sends an angry email, they panic. An employee quits, they get offended. A competitor launches a product, they scramble. They are reactive. To be reactive is to be a slave. If I can control your emotions with a few words, I own you. If I can make you angry by insulting you, I am your master. If I can make you anxious by threatening you, I am holding your leash. Chapter 7 is about cutting the strings. It is about becoming a person who cannot be rattled, cannot be baited, and cannot be broken by the chaos of the day. Reaction versus response. We need to define the difference between a reaction and a response. They look similar, but they are worlds apart. Reaction is biological. It is animalistic. It is a reflex. Stimulus, reaction. Someone hits you, you hit back. Someone yells, you yell back. There is no gap. There is no thought. You are running on software installed in the jungle 100,000 years ago. Response is sovereign. It is human. It inserts a gap between the stimulus and the action. Stimulus, the pause, response. Someone yells, you pause, you analyze, you speak calmly. The imposter reacts. The sovereign responds. Reaction is fast and weak. Response is slow and strong. When you react, you are giving away your power. You are letting the external world dictate your internal state. When you respond, you keep your power. You decide how the external world affects you. The button theory. Everyone you know has buttons. Your spouse knows exactly how to make you feel guilty. Your mother knows exactly how to make you feel like a child. Your boss knows exactly how to make you feel incompetent. These buttons are installed by your past insecurities. When someone pushes the button, the program runs. Push button, get anger. Push button, get shame. To be emotional granite, you must disconnect the wiring. You cannot stop people from pushing the buttons. People will always be rude, incompetent, or aggressive. But you can disconnect the wire so that when they push the button, nothing happens. They insult you. They wait for the explosion. But there is only silence. There is only a calm stare. This terrifies them. Because when the machine doesn't work, they realize they have lost control over you. The thermostat of the room. In every room, there is an emotional thermostat. Usually, the person with the strongest emotion sets the temperature. If someone enters screaming, the room gets hot. Everyone gets anxious. The screamer has set the temperature. The sovereign leader overrides this. You must be the thermostat. And your setting is always cool. When the team is panicking because the server crashed, you do not join the panic. You lower your voice. You slow your movements. Chapter 3. You blink slowly. Chapter 4. You act as a heat sink. You absorb their chaos and radiate calm. Neuroscience calls this co-regulation. Humans synchronize their nervous systems with the leader. If you are granite, they will calm down. If you crack, they will shatter. Your calm is not just for you. It is a duty to your people. Technique 1. The clinical detachment, the white coat. How do you stay calm when someone is attacking you personally, when they are calling you names? You use clinical detachment. Imagine you are a scientist or a doctor in a white coat. The person screaming at you is a patient in a psych ward. They are not attacking you. They are having an episode. They are displaying symptoms. Instead of thinking, how dare he say that to me? Think, interesting. Interesting that he loses control when he is challenged. Interesting that he uses insults to mask his insecurity. When you view an attack as data rather than an insult, you do not get angry. You get curious. You look at them with a slight tilt of the head. You analyze the outburst. And because you are analyzing, your prefrontal cortex stays online. You remain the adult in the room. Technique 2. The burn note. Never make a decision while you are in a high emotion state. If you are euphoric, great news, do not sign the contract. You will give away too much. If you are furious, bad news, do not send the email. You will burn the bridge. The rule, the 24-hour quarantine. When a big emotion hits, quarantine your decision-making. Write the email. Vent your rage. Call them names. But write it in a burn note. Do not put their address in the to field. Save it to drafts. Wake up tomorrow morning. Read it. You will be horrified. You will think, I sounded like a lunatic. Then delete it. Write the real response, the sovereign response. The sovereign plays the long game. Emotions are short game. Technique 3. The gray rock method. Some people thrive on drama. They are energy vampires. We will discuss them in Chapter 10. They want a reaction. They feed on your anger. If you argue with them, you feed them. If you defend yourself, you feed them. To defeat them, you must become a gray rock. Be the most boring, uninteresting object in the room. Them. You never listen to me. You're the worst manager ever. You, gray rock. I hear that you are frustrated. Flat tone. No emotion. Them. Is that all you have to say? You're arrogant. You, gray rock. I understand your perspective. Do not give them the fuel of emotion. Eventually, they will get bored. They will go look for another victim who will scream back. You win by being unwinnable. Handling bad news, the good protocol. Jocko Willink, the Navy SEAL commander, teaches this perfectly. When a subordinate comes to him with bad news, the mission failed, we lost the gear, he has one default response. He doesn't curse. He doesn't panic. He says, good. We lost the account. Good. Now we have time to focus on better clients. The project failed. Good. Now we know what doesn't work. I didn't get the promotion. Good. I can build my own company. This is stoic reframing. It forces your brain to immediately look for the opportunity inside the crisis. It skips the victim phase entirely and jumps straight to the solution phase. When bad news hits you today, try it. Say good, even if you don't believe it yet. Say it. Force your brain to find the good. The face of the king, the poker face. Your face is a billboard. It broadcasts your internal state. The imposter has a loud face. They frown when confused. They widen their eyes when scared. They bite their lip when nervous. This gives the enemy tactical information. He's scared. Press harder. The sovereign has a still face. It is not a frown. It is a neutral mask. It reveals nothing. It absorbs information, but reflects nothing back. This is incredibly unnerving to others. They will look at you and think, what is he thinking? Does he agree? Is he angry? They will project their own fears onto your blank canvas. Let them. In the absence of information, people assume you know something they don't. Your poker face is a weapon of leverage. Action plan for Chapter 7. Step 1, the flinch test. Go take a cold shower. Turn the handle all the way to cold. Stand under the water. Your body will want to gasp. You will want to shiver. You will want to jump out. Do not flinch. Force your breathing to stay slow. Force your face to stay neutral. If you can control your reaction to freezing water, you can control your reaction to an angry email. It is the same neural pathway. Step 2. the no venting rule. For the next 24 hours, you are forbidden from complaining. If something bad happens, you cannot call your friend to vent. Venting is just rehearsing anger. It makes the neural pathway of rage stronger. Keep it inside. Process it. Transmute it into action. Be a container, not a sieve. Step 3. The silent stare. The next time someone says something rude or stupid to you, do nothing. Do not reply. Just look at them. Count to 5. Then go back to what you were doing. Treat their comment as if it were a noise made by a passing car. Irrelevant. You want respect? Be the one person in the room who doesn't freak out when the fire alarm goes off. Be the rock. Rocks don't need to shout to prove they are heavy. They just are. In the next chapter, we are going to get tactical. You have the calm. You have the stillness. Now, how do you enter the room? We are going to talk about the art of the entry. How to walk through a door and shift the energy of the entire room instantly. Become granite. Let the storm break against you. Chapter 8. The art of the entry. How to walk into a room and shift the energy. The door is a portal. On one side, you are in the hallway. You are in transition. You are invisible. On the other side, you are on stage. You are visible. You are being judged. Most people cross this threshold unconsciously. They walk into the meeting room looking at their phone. They walk into the party looking for the nearest corner to hide in. They leak into the room. They drift in like a draft of cold air. This is a failure of leadership. If you leak into a room, you have already signaled that you are irrelevant. You have signaled that you are a spectator. The sovereign leader does not leak. The sovereign arrives. When the sovereign crosses the threshold, the atmosphere changes. The chatter dies down. The heads turn. The energy shifts. It is not because they are loud. It is because their entry was an event. Chapter 8 is about the art of the entry. It is about mastering the first 3 seconds of your presence. It is about how to walk through a door so that everyone knows the captain is on the bridge. The threshold ritual. The doorway is a picture frame. When you walk through it, you are stepping into the frame. Most people rush through the frame because they don't want to be looked at. They suffer from spotlight effect anxiety. The sovereign uses the frame. Here is the protocol for the threshold ritual. The stop. Do not walk continuously from the hallway into the room. When you reach the doorway, stop just for a split second. Plant your feet. This breaks the rhythm. Motion draws attention, but the cessation of motion draws even more attention. By stopping in the frame, you force the room to acknowledge a new object has entered the ecosystem. The reset. In that split-second pause, check your hardware. Shoulders back, chin up, hands empty or carrying with purpose. This is your suit-up moment. You leave the stress of the hallway in the hallway. You enter the room clean. The breach. Once you have paused and reset, you step forward. You do not scurry. You step with intention. The Lighthouse Scan. What do you do with your eyes the moment you enter? The imposter looks at the floor. Submission. The imposter looks at the empty chair they want to sit in. Escapism. The imposter looks at their friends. Safety-seeking. The sovereign performs the Lighthouse Scan. Imagine a lighthouse beam sweeping across the ocean. When you step through the door, after your pause, keep your body still, but move your head. Scan the room from left to right. Slowly. You are not looking for someone. You are looking at everyone. This sends a primal message. I am surveying my territory. I am checking for threats. I am not afraid to see you. Even if there are 100 people in the room, this sweep makes everyone feel seen, by the leader. It establishes dominance before you take a single step toward your seat. The no phone rule. I cannot stress this enough. Never, ever, under any circumstances, walk into a room while looking at your phone. When you look at your phone, your head is down. Your neck is exposed. Your awareness is zero. You look like a teenager. You look like a subordinate checking for orders. You look distracted. A king is never distracted. A king is fully present in the current reality. Put the phone in your pocket before you reach the door. Better yet, hold it in your hand, screen facing your leg, relaxed. This shows you have the technology, but you are not enslaved by it. The energy audit, bring the weather. You are not just a physical body. You are a weather system. When you enter a room, you bring a climate. Is the room stressed? Is everyone frantic? If you walk in frantic, you escalate the storm. If you walk in slow, calm, and heavy, granite, you cool the room down. Is the room low energy? Is everyone bored and tired? If you walk in with a slump, you kill the room. If you walk in with vitality, crisp movements, and a slight smile, you wake the room up. You must decide the weather before you touch the door handle. Ask yourself, what does this room need? Does it need calm, or does it need fire? Then, become that energy. Do not let the room change you. You change the room. The approach, the walk to the chair. You have crossed the threshold. You have scanned. Now you must move to your position. Do not take the beeline. The beeline is the shortest path from the door to the chair. Prey animals take the beeline. They want to get to safety, the chair, as fast as possible. The sovereign takes the inspection route. Take a path that is slightly longer. Walk through the center of the room. Walk past the table. You are demonstrating that you are comfortable in the open space. You are not rushing to safety. As you walk, acknowledge people, but do not be a golden retriever. The golden retriever walks in wagging its tail, smiling at everyone, desperate for a pet. Hi, good to see you. This is low status. Be the Great Dane. Walk tall, calm. Acknowledge people with a chin nod. Upward nod, for friends and peers, informal. Downward nod, for respect and authority, formal. Use the downward nod. It signals, I see you, we are good. The artifacts, what you carry. Your props matter. If you walk in clutching a laptop, a coffee cup, a notebook, and a bag, you look cluttered. You look overwhelmed. Clutter signals a cluttered mind. The rule of one hand. Try to keep one hand entirely empty. Carry your notebook and laptop in your left hand. Keep your right hand free for handshakes. Do not hug your stuff to your chest. That is a defensive shield. Carry your items at your side, like a briefcase or a weapon. This exposes your torso, the sovereign architecture, and shows you are relaxed. Entering late, the crisis entry. Sometimes you will be late. How you handle lateness determines your status. The apologist entry rushes in, hunched over, whispers, sorry, traffic was bad, scrambles to find a seat, drops their pen. Result, loss of respect. The room pities you. The sovereign entry, you are late, accept it, do not hide it. Walk in at a normal pace, do not run. Pause at the door, threshold ritual. Nod to the senior person in the room. Take your seat silently. Do not whisper, sorry. Do not explain the traffic, zero justification. Simply sit down, open your notebook, and look at the speaker. If you must apologize, do it after the meeting, privately. My apologies for the delay. But during the entry? Silence. Act as if you arrived exactly when you meant to. The high-vis entry, social settings. In a networking event or a party, the goal is slightly different. You want to be invited into conversations. When you enter, move to the high ground. Find a spot where you can see the whole room, and the whole room can see you. Usually, this is near the bar or facing the entrance. Do not go stand against the wall. Do not sit in the corner. Stand in the open. Adopt the steeple hand position or hold your drink comfortably. Wait. Perform the Lighthouse Scan with a slight smile, social triangle. People will be drawn to the person who looks comfortable standing alone. Most people are terrified to stand alone. If you do it with ease, you look like the host, even if you are a guest. Action plan for Chapter 8. Step 1. The doorway drill. Every time you enter a room today, even your own kitchen, practice the pause. Stop. Frame. Reset. Enter. Build the muscle memory so you don't have to think about it when the stakes are high. Step 2. The pocket check. Before you enter your office or a restaurant, put the phone away. Feel the urge to check it one last time. Resist. Enter unencumbered. Step 3. The scan. When you walk into your next meeting, do not look at your chair. Look at the far wall. Look left. Look right. Then move. Notice how it slows down your internal clock. You teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. If you treat yourself like a VIP who deserves a grand entrance, they will treat you like a VIP. If you treat yourself like an intruder who is sneaking in, they will treat you like an intruder. The room is a stage. The lights are on. Don't just walk on. Arrive. In the next chapter, we are going to talk about what happens when someone disrespects you. You have entered like a king. But someone makes a snide comment. Someone interrupts you. Do you yell? No. We are going to talk about the velvet sword, how to correct disrespect instantly without raising your voice. Take the stage. Chapter 9. The velvet sword. Correcting disrespect without raising your voice. Disrespect is a test. You are in a meeting. You are speaking. Suddenly, a colleague interrupts you. Yeah, but that won't work because... Or they make a subtle dig, a snarky comment disguised as a joke. Nice of you to finally join us. In that moment, your blood heats up. Your amygdala screams, "Attack! He insulted the king! Burn him!" You want to snap back. You want to raise your voice. You want to argue. If you do that, you lose. The moment you raise your voice, you admit that they have the power to disturb your peace. You admit that their words hurt you. And a king who can be hurt by words is not a king. He is a target. Chapter 9 is about the velvet sword. It is the art of correction that feels soft to the touch, but cuts deep into the psyche. It is how you re-establish your boundary without looking like a tyrant. It is how you win the war without firing a single angry shot. The physics of tone, volume, and authority are inversely correlated. The louder you get, the less authority you project. Think of a barking dog. It barks because it is afraid. Think of a storm. Thunder is loud, but it is harmless. Lightning is silent until it strikes, and it destroys. You must be the lightning. When someone disrespects you, your volume should not go up. It should go down. Drop your voice an octave. Slow your cadence. Speak quieter than you were speaking before. This forces the room to lean in. It forces the disrespectful person to stop talking just to hear you. It signals, I am so in control that I do not need to shout to be heard. Level 1. The non-verbal stop, the look. The most elegant correction uses 0 words. We call this the glare. Someone interrupts you. Do not keep talking over them. That is a shouting match. Do not stop and look down. Submission. The protocol. Stop talking immediately. Cut your sentence in half. Turn your head slowly, face the interrupter, lock eyes. Use the power triangle from Chapter 4. Wait. Maintain this silence for 3 to 4 seconds. It will feel like an eternity. The interrupter will usually stutter and stop. They will feel the weight of your gaze. They will realize they stepped out of line. Then, once they are silent, you simply resume exactly where you left off, as if they never spoke. You have deleted them from reality. Level 2. The gentle name drop. If the nonverbal stop doesn't work, you escalate to the velvet verbal. The most powerful word in any language is a person's name. When a child is misbehaving, the mother says, "Thomas." The tone is not angry, it is corrective. If someone is rambling or interrupting, say their name. John. If they keep talking, say it again, same flat tone. John. Do not say "shut up." Do not say "let me finish." Just the name. The name cuts through the noise. It triggers a pay attention reflex in their brain. Once they stop, use the velvet phrase, "I wasn't finished." Do not say it with attitude. Do not say it with sass. Say it like a fact. John. Pause. "I wasn't finished." Then continue. It is polite, but it is absolute. It is a brick wall wrapped in silk. Level 3. The curiosity trap, Socratic judo. What about the snarky joke? Someone says, "Oh, look who decided to show up." Or, "That's a brilliant idea, Einstein." If you get angry, you look thin-skinned. Can't you take a joke? If you laugh, you accept the status hit. You must use Socratic judo. You pretend you didn't understand the joke. You ask them to explain it. Insults rely on speed and implication. When you slow them down and dissect them, they die. Look confused, not angry, just puzzled. Ask, "What do you mean by that?" Watch what happens. They have to explain the insult. "Oh, I just meant, because you were late." And why is that funny? Well, they will crumble. They will start apologizing. You force them to dissect their own rudeness. And then you deliver the kill shot. "I see," and move on. You didn't fight them. You just handed them a shovel and let them dig their own grave. Level 4. The meta-commentary, calling the game. Sometimes, the disrespect is emotional. Someone is yelling, attacking, or being passive-aggressive. If you engage with the content of their argument, you are wrestling in the mud. Stop arguing about the content. Comment on the behavior. This is called going meta. You step outside the argument and observe their state. The script, "You seem very emotional right now." Or, "You are yelling. It is hard to listen when you are yelling." This is a power move of the highest order. By labeling their emotion, you establish yourself as the rational observer, the doctor, and them as the irrational subject, the patient. It usually shocks them into silence. "I am not emotional." Okay, then let's speak quietly. You are defining the rules of engagement. I will listen to you, but I will not be yelled at. If they continue, you use the walk away. We can continue this when you are calm. And leave. This is the ultimate velvet sword. You cut the connection to preserve your dignity. The repeater technique. This is for the person who tries to steamroll you. They ask a rude question. You give an answer. They interrupt with the same rude question. Do not get frustrated. Do not change your answer. Repeat your exact answer, word for word, with the exact same intonation. Them. Why is this project late? You. We are waiting on the vendor data. Them. Yeah, but that's an excuse. I need to know why it's late. You. We are waiting on the vendor data. Them. You guys are always slow. You. We are waiting on the vendor data. You become a broken record. You become a wall. Eventually, They realize that their aggression cannot change the reality. You are immovable granite. Chapter 7. Private versus public correction. There is a rule of sovereign etiquette. Praise in public. Correct in private. If an employee or a peer disrespects you in a meeting, use level 1, the look, or level 2, the name drop, to stop the bleeding. But do not flay them alive in front of everyone. That creates resentment. It makes you look cruel. Instead, execute the after-meeting summit. Catch them as they walk out. John, a word. Lead them to a quiet corner. Maintain the sovereign stare. Do not interrupt me in a meeting again. It is unprofessional. Are we clear? Short. Cold. Private. This builds fear and respect. They know you have the power to destroy them publicly, but you showed the mercy to do it privately. That is the velvet sword. The save-the-face exit. Sometimes, you need to correct someone, but you need them to remain an ally. You don't want to destroy their ego completely. You give them a golden bridge to retreat across. You correct them, but you give them an out. I know you are under a lot of stress with the merger, the out. But you cannot speak to the team like that, the correction. This allows them to say, yeah, you're right. The merger is killing me. Sorry. You allowed them to save face. A sovereign does not massacre the enemy if they can turn them into a subject. Action plan for Chapter 9. Step 1, the volume drop. For the next 24 hours, whenever you feel the urge to raise your voice, whisper instead, or speak at 50% volume. Watch how people lean in. Watch how the energy shifts. Step 2, the what do you mean? Drill. The next time someone makes a joke at your expense or says something vague and rude, stop. Do not laugh. Look at them. Ask, what do you mean by that? Wait for the awkwardness. Do not rescue them. Step 3, the I wasn't finished. In your next meeting, wait for an interruption. When it happens, do not speed up. Stop. Say their name. I wasn't finished. Resume. Feel the surge of adrenaline. That is your power returning. A sword doesn't need to be swung hard to cut. If the blade is sharp, gravity does the work. Your presence is the blade. Your silence is the gravity. You do not need to hack and slash. You just need to stand there, sharp and heavy, and let them cut themselves on your resolve. In the next chapter, we are going to talk about the people who drain your power, the complainers, the victims, the narcissists. We are going to talk about the energy audit, how to identify the vampires in your court and exile them without drama. Keep your sword sheathed, but keep it sharp. Chapter 10. The energy audit, identifying and removing energy vampires. You have a bank account. You check it regularly. If someone stole $100 from you, you would be furious. You would call the police. You would change your passwords. But you have another account that is infinitely more valuable. Your energy account. Money can be printed. Money can be earned back. Energy is finite. You wake up with a specific amount of biological electricity. Every decision costs energy. Every conversation costs energy. Every stressor costs energy. When the battery hits 0, you are done. You cannot lead. You cannot create. You cannot rule. Yet, you let people rob this account every single day. You let them steal your focus. You let them steal your peace. You let them dump their emotional garbage into your living room, and you do nothing. You smile and say, "It's okay." It is not okay. It is treason against yourself. Chapter 10 is about the energy audit. It is about ruthlessly identifying the energy vampires in your life, the people who leave you drained, tired, and heavy. And it is about building a moat around your castle so they can never steal from you again. The economics of interaction. Every interaction is a transaction. When you speak to someone, check your internal balance sheet. There are only two outcomes. Net positive. You leave the conversation feeling lighter, inspired, or neutral. An asset. Net negative. You leave the conversation feeling exhausted, angry, or depressed. A liability. The sovereign leader cannot afford liabilities. If you spend 80% of your day dealing with people who drain you, you are operating at 20% capacity. You are trying to win a Formula One race with sand in your gas tank. You must accept a harsh truth. Some people are poison. They might be nice. They might be family. They might be old friends. But if they are poison, they are killing you slowly. The taxonomy of vampires. We need to identify the enemy. Vampires come in three main species. 1. The professional victim. This person is cursed. The world is always against them. Their car always breaks down. Their boss always hates them. Their ex is always crazy. They come to you for sympathy. They want you to validate their suffering. The trap. You try to fix their problems. You give them advice. The reality. They don't want a solution. They want attention. If you solve their problem, they lose their identity as a victim, so they will reject your advice and find a new problem. The sovereign response. Do not offer solutions. Do not offer pity. Ask, that sounds hard. What is your plan to fix it? This forces them to take responsibility. Vampires hate responsibility. They will flee. 2. The gossip. This person bonds by destroying others. Did you hear about John? Can you believe what Sarah did? They act like your ally. They make you feel like an insider. The trap. You listen. You nod. You agree. The reality. If they are gossiping to you, they are gossiping about you. You are next on the menu. The sovereign response. Use the mirror check. When they start trashing someone, ask, why are you telling me this? Or simply stay silent. Chapter 5. Gossip requires two people. If you don't catch the ball, the game ends. 3. The crisis addict. This person is addicted to adrenaline. Every deadline is an emergency. Every email is a fire. They run around the office screaming, the sky is falling. The trap. You get sucked into their urgency. Your cortisol spikes. You start running too. The reality. They create chaos because chaos makes them feel important. Peace bores them. The sovereign response. Be emotional granite. Chapter 7. Do not match their energy. Slow down. Say, it is not a crisis. It is a problem. We will solve it calmly. The audit protocol. You cannot fix what you do not measure. For the next 3 days, keep a roster. Write down the names of the 5 people you interact with most. Next to each name, put a score. +1, charge, or 1, drain. Be honest. Does your business partner drain you? 1. Does your spouse drain you? 1. This is a hard truth, but you must face it. Does your mother drain you? 1. Look at the list. If you are surrounded by ones, you are not a king. You are a hospice nurse. You are keeping dead things alive with your own life force. The moat restricting access. You cannot always fire these people. You can't fire your mother. You might not be able to fire a key employee yet, but you can build a moat. A moat creates distance. It controls access. Strategy 1. The time cap. If your mother drains you, do not stop calling her, but do not stay on the phone for 60 minutes. Vampires take as much time as you give them. Set a hard limit. Hi, Mom. I have 10 minutes before a meeting, but I wanted to hear your voice. At 10 minutes, you hang up. I have to run. Love you. You protected the relationship, but you protected your energy. Strategy 2. The digital wall vampires love text messaging. It allows them to interrupt you instantly. Do not reply instantly. If a vampire texts you a crisis, wait 4 hours. By the time you reply, they have usually found someone else to bother. Train them that you are not an on-demand resource. Strategy 3. The topic embargo. If you have a friend who always complains about politics, or their ex, simply ban the topic. I value our friendship, but I am not discussing politics anymore. It drains me. If they bring it up, hang up or walk away. They will learn. If I want access to the king, I must leave my garbage at the door. The high-maintenance employee. In business, you will have employees who are high output, but high maintenance. They bring in sales, but they cause drama. The amateur leader keeps them because of the money. The sovereign leader fires them because of the energy. One toxic superstar destroys the culture of the entire team. They are culture cancer. The math never works out. The energy they cost you is higher than the profit they bring. Cut the cord. The relief you feel the next day will be worth more than their revenue. The mirror. Are you the vampire? This is the hardest part of the audit. Look in the mirror. Are you draining people? Do you complain to your spouse the moment you get home? Do you dump your work stress on your friends? Do you constantly need validation from your team? Chapter 1. If you leave a room and everyone looks tired, you are the problem. A sovereign does not take energy. A sovereign generates energy. You bring the vision. You bring the calm. You bring the certainty. People should feel stronger after talking to you, not weaker. The sovereign inner circle nature abhors a vacuum. When you remove the vampires, you will be lonely. This is the isolation phase. It is necessary. Better to sit alone in a quiet room than to sit in a room full of mosquitoes. Eventually, you will fill those spots with generators. Generators are people who challenge you, who support you, who have their own mission. When you talk to a generator, 1 + 1 1 to 3, you leave the coffee shop feeling like you can conquer the world. But generators have high standards. They do not tolerate vampires. If you are full of drama, they will cut you off. To attract kings, you must be a king. Action plan for Chapter 10. Step 1. The list. Write down the names. Identify the single biggest vampire in your life right now. Step 2. The conversation, or the ghost. If it is a professional relationship, end it. This isn't a fit. If it is a personal relationship, restrict it. Set the time cap. Do not explain why, zero justification. Just be less available. Step 3. The no complaint diet. For the next 24 hours, you are forbidden from complaining. If you have a problem, solve it or accept it. Do not verbalize the suffering. Stop leaking your own energy. Your energy is the fuel for your empire. You treat your money like gold. You treat your time like diamonds. Why do you treat your energy like trash? Close the gate. Raise the drawbridge. You decide who enters. In the next chapter, we are going to look at the physical wrapping of the sovereign. You have the mind. You have the body language. You have the energy defense. Now, we must dress the part. We are going to talk about sovereign aesthetics, why your clothes are your first speech, and why dressing comfortably is a sign of surrender. Clean your court. Guard the throne. Chapter 11. Sovereign aesthetics. Why your clothes are your first speech. Look down at yourself right now. What are you wearing? Are you wearing sweatpants? Are you wearing a t-shirt with a funny slogan? Are you wearing shoes that haven't been polished in a year? You might say, it doesn't matter. I'm working from home. Or, I dress for comfort. People should judge me for my skills, not my clothes. This is a lie. It is a lie you tell yourself to excuse your laziness. We live in a visual universe. The human brain processes visual information 60,000 times faster than text or audio. Before you open your mouth to say, "I am an expert," your clothes have already screamed a message. If you are dressed like a child, the room will treat you like a child. If you are dressed like a slob, the room will treat you like a slob. If you are dressed like a sovereign, the room will treat you like a sovereign. Chapter 11 is about sovereign aesthetics. It is about accepting the fact that your clothing is not just fabric. It is your first speech. And right now, many of you are giving a terrible speech. The biology of adornment. Don't judge a book by its cover. That is a nice sentiment for kindergarten. In the real world, everyone judges the book by the cover. That is why books have covers, to tell you what is inside. In nature, the leader is always the most adorned. The lion has the mane. The peacock has the feathers. The silverback gorilla has the silver hair. They do not blend in. They stand out. When you dress in a way that says, "I don't care," you are signaling low status. You are signaling that you have given up on the competition. You are signaling that you do not respect yourself enough to present your best version to the world. And if you do not respect yourself, why should I respect you? The comfort trap. The modern world is obsessed with comfort. Athleisure is the uniform of the masses. People wear pajamas to the airport. They wear hoodies to board meetings. Let me be clear. Comfort is the enemy of authority. Kings do not dress for comfort. They dress for duty. A crown is heavy. A suit is restrictive. Armor is hot. That is the point. The restriction reminds you of your role. When you put on sweatpants, your brain releases a chemical signal. It is time to relax. It is time to be lazy. This is called enclothed cognition. Scientists have proven that if you give a doctor a white coat, they become more attentive. If you give them a painter's smock, they become looser and less careful. Your clothes change your brain chemistry. If you want to think sharp, you must dress sharp. You cannot negotiate $1 million deal in your pajamas. Your brain won't let you. You will lack the edge. The sovereign uniform. You do not need to be a fashion model. You do not need to follow trends. Sovereigns do not follow trends. They set standards. You need a uniform. Think of Steve Jobs, black turtleneck. Think of Obama, blue suit. Think of Karl Lagerfeld. They found a look that communicated their identity, and they stuck to it. This eliminates decision fatigue. You don't waste energy choosing clothes. You just put on your armor. The rules of the uniform: fit is king. A $5,000 suit that fits poorly looks like garbage. A $200 suit that is tailored perfectly looks like $1 million. Most men wear clothes that are too big to hide their body. Most women wear clothes that are uncomfortable to chase trends. Find a tailor. Spend the extra $50 to get the pants hemmed and the jacket taken in. The fabric should skim your body, not hang off it. Darker is stronger. In color psychology, darker colors signal authority. Navy blue, charcoal, black. Light colors, pastels, beige, signal approachability and softness. If you are going to war, a negotiation, wear black or navy. If you are going to a picnic, wear beige. Know the difference. The shoes are the anchor. People look at your face first and your feet second. If you are wearing a sharp suit and dirty, scuffed sneakers, you have failed. You look like an amateur. Keep your shoes clean. Keep them polished. It shows attention to detail. How you do anything is how you do everything. The 20% rule. How dressed up should you be? You don't want to wear a tuxedo to a casual lunch. you will look insecure. The rule is, dress 20% better than the room. If everyone is wearing t-shirts, wear a polo. If everyone is wearing polos, wear a button-down. If everyone is wearing button-downs, wear a blazer. This subtle elevation separates you from the herd. It subconsciously designates you as the leader of the group. When the waiter comes to the table, they will look at you first. When a crisis happens, people will look at you for the solution, because you look like the person in charge. The grooming standard. Your clothes are removable. Your face is not. Sovereign aesthetics extend to your grooming. Hair. Get it cut regularly. Do not let it look shaggy or unkempt. The back of your neck should be clean. Beard. If you have one, it must be intentional. No neck beards. Line it up, oil it, or shave it off. Stubble looks lazy unless it is maintained. Scent. Smell is the strongest link to memory. Do not bathe in cologne, but have a scent, a subtle, high-quality fragrance. When you leave the room, your scent should linger for 10 seconds. It leaves a ghost of your presence. Dressing the avatar stop. Dressing the person you are. Start dressing the person you want to become. If you are a junior analyst, but you want to be a CEO, stop dressing like a junior analyst. Dress like the CEO. It might feel awkward for a week. People might ask, "Why are you all dressed up?" Tell them, "I have important work to do today." Eventually, the cognitive dissonance will resolve itself. You will start acting like the CEO to match the clothes, and people will start treating you like the CEO because you look like one. You are hacking the matrix, the home office, protocol. Since 2020, the world has become casual. I work on Zoom, nobody sees my pants. This is a trap. Even if you are alone in your house, do not work in sweatpants. Wake up, shower, put on hard pants, jeans or trousers. Put on a collar, put on shoes. Do not wear slippers while you work. Why? Because you are signaling to your own subconscious that you are at work. You will write better emails. You will speak with more authority on the call. You are respecting the craft. If you dress like you are napping, your work will look like you were napping. Action plan for Chapter 11. Step 1. The closet purge. Go to your closet. Take out every item that has a hole, a stain, or doesn't fit. Take out every t-shirt with a funny slogan. Throw them away, or donate them. Do not keep them for painting the house. You don't paint the house that often. Get them out of your life. Step 2. The tailor visit. Take your favorite jacket or pair of pants. Go to a tailor. Pay them to make it fit perfectly. Experience the difference of custom-fit clothing. You will never go back. Step 3. The tomorrow layout. Tonight, before you sleep, lay out your uniform for tomorrow. Make it 20% better than what you wore today. Iron the shirt. Polish the shoes. When you wake up, you step into the armor of the king. You represent your lineage. You represent your company. You represent your potential. Stop representing them like a slob. When you look in the mirror, you should feel pride. You should see a sovereign looking back at you. Fix your tie. Straighten your collar. Respect yourself enough to look the part. In the next chapter, we are going to take this presence into the most dangerous arena of all: family and friends. It is easy to be a king at work. It is hard to be a king at the dinner table. We are going to talk about the dinner table. Commanding respect in social settings without being that guy. Look sharp. Be sharp. Chapter 12. The dinner table. Commanding respect in social and family settings. You can conquer the boardroom. You can negotiate the $1 million contract. You can command a team of 50 employees. But then, you go home for Thanksgiving, or you go to a dinner party with old friends from college, and suddenly, you are not the CEO. You are not the sovereign. You are little Timmy. You are the guy who got drunk at the fraternity party 10 years ago. Your uncle interrupts you. Your mother critiques your haircut. Your friends make fun of your ambition, and you crumble. You revert to your childhood self. You get defensive. You get loud. Or you withdraw and sulk. Why is this arena so difficult? Because familiarity breeds contempt. These people saw you in diapers. They saw you fail. They know your triggers. You cannot use your job title here. Your title means nothing at the dinner table. Chapter 12 is about social sovereignty. It is about how to maintain your frame when the structure of the office is gone. It is about being the king, even when you are sitting in your mother's kitchen. The host mindset, even when you are a guest. The most powerful person at a dinner party is the host. The host controls the environment. The host connects people. The host ensures safety and provision. The guests are passive. They wait to be fed. They wait to be entertained. Here is the secret. You can be the host, even if it is not your house. You do not need to own the building to own the room. You simply need to adopt the host mindset. Instead of sitting there waiting for a drink, you pour the water for the person next to you. Instead of waiting for an introduction, you introduce two people who don't know each other. Sarah, have you met John? John is an architect, and Sarah just bought a house. By facilitating the comfort of others, you subconsciously place yourself at the top of the social hierarchy. The leader serves, the follower consumes. When you serve the table, pouring wine, passing bread, steering conversation, you become the de facto leader. People will naturally look to you for cues. The physics of eating. How you eat tells the world how you live. Most people eat like wolves. They hunch over the plate, they shovel food, they talk with their mouths full. They look desperate. They look like they are afraid someone is going to steal their food. The sovereign eats with restraint. The tempo rule. You must be the slowest eater at the table. The alpha wolf eats last. The alpha wolf is not starving. He knows the food is his. If you finish your plate in 5 minutes while everyone else is still eating, you look impulsive. Put the fork down between bites. Sip the water. Engage in conversation. Let the food be the background, not the focus. The posture of the feast. Do not lean your elbows on the table and hunch over the plate. Sit back. Bring the food to your mouth. Do not bring your mouth to the food. Keep your wrists resting on the edge of the table, territoriality. This open posture signals, I am relaxed, I am civilized. The art of the toast. Most people are terrified of public speaking, especially at social gatherings. They stare at their plates. This is an opportunity for you to seize the crown. The sovereign always makes a toast. It doesn't have to be a wedding. It can be a Tuesday night pizza with friends. Wait for everyone to have a drink. Clink your glass, the sound of authority. Wait for the silence. Chapter 5. Stand up. Always stand. It forces respect. Say something brief and generous. I just want to say, it is a privilege to be here with all of you. To good health and old friends. Cheers. That took 10 seconds. But in those 10 seconds, you unified the room. You set the tone. You became the voice of the group. Only leaders make toasts. Followers just drink. Handling the drunk uncle, the agitator. Every family has one. The person who wants to argue politics. The person who wants to bring up your past failures. They are baiting you. They want to drag you into the mud. If you argue, you lose. If you get angry, you lose. Use the pivot and parry. When they say something provocative, so still single, huh? Do not defend. Smile. The smile disarms them. Agree and amplify. The parry. Yes, still single. I'm too expensive to maintain. The pivot. Turn to the person on your other side. Speaking of expensive, Bob, tell me about that new car. You acknowledged the attack, dismissed it with humor, and physically turned your attention away. You denied the agitator the oxygen of conflict. They will eventually stop trying because you are untriggerable. Emotional granite. The bill, the silent power move. When the check comes, it creates anxiety. People do the wallet dance. They pretend to reach for their cards. They argue. No, let me get it. No, we'll split it. This is chaotic. It is low status. If you intend to pay, do not discuss it. Do not make a scene at the table. The sovereign move is to get up 10 minutes before the check arrives. Excuse me. Walk to the waiter or the counter. Hand them your card. Put the table on this. Add 20% tip. Do not bring the receipt to the table. Then return to your seat. When the waiter says, "It's already taken care of," everyone looks at you. You don't brag. You just nod. It's my pleasure. This creates massive social debt and respect. It is dominant because it removes the ability of others to negotiate. You handled it like a king handles a triviality. The conversation. The interviewer at the table, the person asking the questions, controls the flow. Most people wait to talk about themselves. The sovereign asks deep dive questions instead of, "How is work?" Boring. Ask, "What is the most dangerous thing you're working on right now?" Ask, "If you could fire one client tomorrow, who would it be?" People love to answer these questions. They will talk for 20 minutes, and they will leave the dinner thinking, "He is such a great conversationalist." You barely spoke. You just directed the spotlight. You are the director. They are the actors. The sovereign departure, the Irish exit. How do you leave? Most people linger too long. The energy dies. The conversation loops. They look tired. And then the goodbye takes 45 minutes at the door. The sovereign leaves on a high note. Leave when the conversation is still good. Leave when people are laughing. On that note, I must head out. This was excellent. Stand up. Say goodbye to the host specifically. Give a general wave to the room. Good night, everyone, and leave. Do not go around the table hugging 12 people. That kills the momentum. Disappear into the night. Leave them wanting more of you, not less. Action plan for Chapter 12. Step 1. The slow eating drill. At your next meal, even alone, time yourself. Take 20 minutes to eat. Put the fork down after every bite. If you are eating with others, ensure you are the last one to finish. Step 2. The prepayment. The next time you go to lunch with a friend, pay beforehand or sneak away to pay. Watch their reaction. Refuse to accept their money. You get the next one. This guarantees a second meeting. Step 3. The toast. At the next gathering, hit the glass. Stand up. Toast the host. Feel the power of holding the room's attention. Your family and friends are your court. But a court needs a center. If you are chaotic, the court is chaotic. If you are sovereign, the court is stable. Do not wait for them to change. Change the way you sit at the table, and the table will change around you. In the next chapter, we are going to look at the ultimate test of leadership. Not a dinner party, but a disaster. How to handle a sudden crisis when everyone else is panicking. We are going to talk about the crisis test. How to be the calmest pulse in the room when the building is burning. Bon appétit! Chapter 13. The Crisis Test. How to be the calmest pulse in the room. It is easy to be a sovereign when the sea is calm. It is easy to hold eye contact and speak slowly when the profits are up and the team is happy. But the crown is not earned in peace. The crown is earned in chaos. The moment the server crashes and deletes the database, the moment the biggest client calls and screams, "I'm firing you," the moment the fire alarm actually rings, in that split second, the hierarchy of the room dissolves. Nobody cares about job titles. Nobody cares about who has the nicest suit. They look for one thing. They look for the person who isn't panicking. If the CEO is screaming and running around, he is no longer the leader. He is a liability. If the intern is sitting calmly, typing a solution, the intern is now the king. Chapter 13 is about the crisis test. It is about the biological reality that panic is contagious, but so is calm. And as the sovereign, your primary duty is to be the calmest pulse in the room. The biology of stupidity, cortisol. You must understand what happens to your brain during a crisis. Your body dumps cortisol and adrenaline into your blood. This is designed to help you run from a bear. It diverts blood from your brain to your legs. This means that in a crisis, you literally become stupider. Your IQ drops by 20 points. You lose peripheral vision, tunnel vision. You lose the ability to think creatively. If you act immediately upon the feeling of panic, you will make a catastrophic mistake. You will send the angry email. You will push the wrong button. You will say something you can't take back. Protocol 1. The freeze. When the bomb goes off, metaphorically, your instinct is to do something. The sovereign instinct is to do nothing. This is called the tactical freeze. Emergency responders and pilots are trained to do this. When the warning light flashes red, do not flip switches. Sit on your hands. Count to 3. This pause allows your prefrontal cortex, the logic center, to catch up with your amygdala, the fear center. It prevents the knee-jerk reaction. By doing nothing for 3 seconds, you signal to your team, "I am not rattled. I am assessing." Protocol 2. Box breathing, the override switch. You cannot think your way out of a panic attack. You have to breathe your way out. Your heart is hammering at 120 beats per minute. You need to get it to 80. If your heart rate is high, your voice will be high and shaky. Use the Navy SEAL technique. Box breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Do this in front of your team. Do not hide it. Let them see you take a massive, deliberate breath. It is a visual cue. The king is breathing. We should breathe too. It breaks the hysteria loop. Protocol 3. The voice of God. Have you ever noticed the voice of an airline pilot when there is turbulence? It is not high-pitched. It is not fast. It is a slow, gravelly, bored drawl. Folks, looks like we have a little bumpiness ahead." This is the voice of God. In a crisis, you must artificially lower your pitch. Speak slower than you think is possible. Enunciate every consonant. Panic voice. "Oh my God, the files are gone. What do we do? Call it." Fast high, question mark. Sovereign voice. "The files are missing." Pause. Call it. Pause. "We will assess the backup." Slow, low, period. The slower you speak, the more in control you seem. If you rush your words, you confirm the danger. If you slow your words, you deny the danger its power. Protocol 4. Isolate and simplify. Chaos is complex. A crisis feels like 100 things happening at once. The team is overwhelmed because they are trying to solve 100 things. The sovereign leader isolates the variable. You cannot fix everything. You can only fix the next thing. The command, everyone stop, silence the room. We are not doing 10 things. We are doing one thing. John, get the backup server online. Everyone else, wait. You reduce the complexity to a single executable step. This gives the team a win. Once step 1 is done, you give step 2. Good. Now, Sarah, email the client. You are walking them out of the burning building one step at a time. Protocol 5, the no-blame zone. In the middle of a crisis, someone will inevitably try to find the villain. Who did this? Was it Mike? I told Mike not to touch it. This is distraction. This is weakness. The sovereign shuts this down instantly. We will do the autopsy later. Right now, we save the patient. Do not let the team turn on each other. Focus 100% of the energy on the solution. If you made the mistake, own it instantly. Chapter 6, and move on. I messed up the code. Let's fix it. No drama, just repair. The watchman effect. Humans are herd animals. When the herd is frightened, they look at the watchman. If the watchman looks terrified, the herd stampedes. If the watchman looks bored, the herd starts grazing again. During a crisis, you are being watched. Your hands, your eyes, your mouth. If you wring your hands, they panic. If you clench your jaw, they panic. You must perform the theater of calm. Even if you are terrified inside, you must physically act out the role of a relaxed person. Lean back in your chair. Unlock your jaw. Keep your hands still. Chapter 3. There is a story of a CEO whose company was facing bankruptcy. In the middle of the chaotic meeting, he slowly peeled an orange. He took his time. He removed the peel in one piece. He ate a slice. The room watched him. They calmed down. They thought, if he has time to peel an orange, we must be okay. He wasn't hungry. He was leading. Action plan for Chapter 13. Step 1. The what-if audit. Tonight, write down the 3 worst things that could happen in your life or business next week. Client quits, car crash, layoff. Visualize them happening. Script your first sentence. If the client quits, I will say, I understand. Let's discuss the transition plan. Panic comes from the unknown. If you script it, you kill the panic. Step 2. The breathing drill. Set an alarm for a random time tomorrow. When it goes off, stop whatever you are doing. Perform 4 rounds of box breathing. Practice shifting from busy to calm on command. Step 3. The pitch drop. Record yourself reading a news headline. Now read it again, but lower your voice and slow it down by 50%. Listen to the difference in authority. This is your crisis voice. Memorize it. A crisis is a spotlight. It burns away the fake. It burns away the titles. It leaves only the truth. When the fire starts, do not run. Stand still. Breathe. And speak like you own the fire. In the next chapter, we are going to look at the people you keep close. A sovereign cannot rule alone. You need a council. You need a guard. We are going to talk about the inner circle, how to curate the few people who are allowed to see you without the armor. The fire is out. Let's rebuild. Chapter 14. The inner circle. Curating a court that protects your reign. A king is never more vulnerable than when he is asleep. During the day, you are armored. You have your words. You have your posture. You have your energy. But at night, or when you are broken, or when you are sick, the armor comes off. Who is standing at the door? Who is allowed to see you when you are weak? Who is holding the knife? Are they pointing it at the enemy or at your back? Most people do not have an inner circle. They have a social circle. They have drinking buddies. They have colleagues they tolerate. They have old friends from high school who hold them back. They are surrounded by people, yet they are completely alone. Chapter 14 is about the inner circle. It is about the brutal truth that you cannot remain a sovereign if you are surrounded by peasants. It is about the ruthless curation of the few people who are allowed access to your soul. The law of contagion. You have heard the cliché. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It is a cliché because it is a biological fact. It is called social contagion. If your 5 closest friends are anxious, you will become anxious. If they are broke, you will stay broke. If they are unfaithful to their spouses, you will eventually normalize infidelity. If they are cynical, you will lose your hope. You absorb their standards through osmosis. You cannot fight this. It is how humans are wired. We mimic the tribe to survive. So if you want to be a sovereign, you cannot hang out with jesters. You must build a court. A court is not a democracy. It is a curated selection of assets. The 3 archetypes of the inner circle. You do not need many people. You need the right people. A sovereign inner circle requires 3 specific archetypes. If you are missing one, you are exposed. 1. The challenger, the sparring partner. Most leaders surround themselves with yes men. Yes men are poison. They tell you your bad ideas are genius because they want your favor. They will watch you drive off a cliff just to be polite. You need a challenger. This is the person who respects you enough to tell you the truth. They say, "That is a stupid idea." They say, "You are being arrogant." They say, "You have something in your teeth." They do not worship you. They sharpen you. If you do not have someone in your life who can tell you no, you are not a king. You are a dictator on the verge of collapse. 2. The vault, the confidant. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. You cannot complain to your employees. That destroys morale. You cannot always complain to your spouse. That destroys romance. You need a vault. This is the person who listens to your darkest fears, your failures, and your sins. And they take those secrets to the grave. They do not judge. They do not gossip. They simply hold the weight with you for an hour, so you can stand up and lead again. 3. The architect, the generator. This is the peer who is building their own empire. They are not impressed by your success because they have their own. When you talk to them, you don't talk about people. You talk about ideas. You talk about the future. They raise your baseline. When you see them working hard, it forces you to work harder. Iron sharpens iron. The concentric rings of access. You must visualize your life as a castle with defensive walls. Most people have no walls. They let anyone walk into the throne room. The sovereign has rings of access. Ring 3, the public. Strangers, acquaintances, social media followers. Access. They get your image. They get the sovereign mask. Rule. Never show them weakness. Ring 2, the associates. Work colleagues, casual friends, extended family. Access. They get your personality. They get the host version of you. Chapter 12. Rule. Be kind, but guarded. Do not tell them your secrets. Ring 1. The inner circle. 3 to 5 people max. Access. They get the truth. They see the sweat. They see the doubt. Rule. Absolute loyalty. The problem is that you have people in Ring 1 who belong in Ring 3. You are telling your secrets to people who are just associates. And then you are surprised when they betray you. They didn't betray you. You gave high-level clearance to a low-level clearance individual. That is your fault. The purge, removing the dead weight. This is the hardest part. You have old friends. You have loyalty debt. but I've known him since kindergarten. Does he inspire you? Does he support you? Or does he make fun of your ambition? Does he remind you of who you used to be? A sovereign does not carry dead weight. You do not have to have a dramatic breakup. You do not have to say, "You are a loser, goodbye." That is messy. Use the drift. Simply stop initiating. Stop texting first. Stop inviting them. Reduce the time allocation, Chapter 10. Drift away. They will find someone else to anchor them down. You are moving to higher ground. The NDA of friendship. In business, you sign a non-disclosure agreement, NDA. If someone leaks your trade secrets, you sue them. In life, there is an unwritten NDA. If someone gossips to you about their other friends, they are violating the NDA. If they tell you secrets about someone else, they are proving they are a leaky vessel. Do not put your water in a leaky vessel. If you hear a friend gossiping, mark them. Move them from ring 1 to ring 2 immediately. They are fun. They are charming, but they are not safe. Revoke their clearance. The test of loyalty, the crisis check. How do you know who belongs in the inner circle? You cannot know during the good times. Everyone loves a winner. You only know during the winter, when you lose your job, when you get canceled, when you are sick. Who calls? Who shows up? Who defends your name when you are not in the room? Pay attention to the silence. The people who disappear when the crown slips. They were never friends. They were fans. The people who stay, keep them close. Protect them with your life. Loyalty is the rarest currency on earth. The value of the jester. There is one more role, often overlooked. The jester. In medieval courts, the jester was the only person allowed to make fun of the king. If a knight made fun of the king, he was executed. But the jester could mock the king. Why? Because the king needs to be grounded. If everyone worships you, you will become arrogant. You will lose touch with reality. You need a friend who roasts you, who says, "Nice haircut, idiot," who reminds you that you are just a naked ape in a suit. This keeps your ego in check. It keeps you human. Do not kill the jester. Laugh with him. Action plan for Chapter 14. Step 1. Draw the rings. Take a piece of paper. Draw 3 concentric circles. Write the names of the people in your life. Place them where they currently are. Now look at the paper. Are there people in the center who should be on the edge? Are there people on the edge who have earned the center? Adjust the map. Step 2. The leak test. Tell a small, harmless secret to someone you suspect is a gossip. E.g., I'm thinking of moving to a different city next year. Wait 2 weeks. See if it comes back to you from someone else. If it does, you know the vessel leaks. Never trust them with real data again. Step 3. The gratitude text. Identify the one person who has been your rock or challenger. Send them a text today. I just want to say I appreciate your loyalty. My circle is tight, and you are in it. Strengthen the bond. A king rewards loyalty. It is lonely at the top, but it is better to be lonely than to be surrounded by traitors. Build your wall high, put a heavy lock on the gate, and only give the key to those who have bled with you. In the final chapter, we are going to talk about the weight of it all, the burden of responsibility, the price you pay for being the sovereign. We are going to talk about the crown heavy, the glory and the suffering of ultimate ownership. Check the locks. Close the door. Chapter 15. The crown heavy, the burden and glory of ultimate responsibility. You have reached the end of the manual. You have the posture. You have the gaze. You have the silence. You have the court. You look like a leader. You move like a leader. People treat you like a leader. But there is one thing I have not told you. One truth that I saved for the final mile. The crown is heavy. Most people want the status of the sovereign without the burden of the sovereign. They want the respect, the corner office, the high salary, and the head of the table. But they do not want the sleepless nights. They do not want the isolation. They do not want the crushing weight of knowing that if the ship sinks, it is 100% their fault. To be a sovereign leader is to accept that you are no longer allowed to be a victim. You can never again say, "It's not my fault." You can never again say, "I didn't know." You can never again blame the economy, the government, or your employees. Chapter 15 is about ultimate responsibility. It is about the realization that once you take the throne, you lose the right to complain. This is the price of the crown. The law of extreme ownership, inspired by Jocko Willink. In any organization, in any family, and in any life, there is only one person responsible for everything: you. If your employee fails to execute a task, it is your fault for not training them better. If your spouse is unhappy, it is your fault for not leading the relationship. If you are out of shape, it is your fault for not disciplining your body. The imposter hears this and feels oppressed. That's not fair. I can't control everything. The sovereign hears this and feels free. Because if it is your fault, it means you have the power to fix it. If the problem is out there, if it's the government's fault, then you are a slave to the government. You have to wait for them to change to be happy. But if the problem is in here, you can change right now. Ownership is the source of all power. The isolation of the peak. There is a biological reality to the top of the hierarchy. The higher you go, the fewer peers you have. When you are a student, you have thousands of peers. When you are a manager, you have a few. When you are the sovereign of your own life and business, you are alone. You cannot friend your way to the top. You must be comfortable with the silence. You must be comfortable making decisions that make people hate you in the short term, so that you can save them in the long term. A sovereign is not a nice guy. A sovereign is a just leader. Being nice is about making yourself feel comfortable. Being just is about doing what is right, even when it is painful. Expect to be misunderstood. Expect to be lonely. If you need constant applause, go join the circus. Do not sit on the throne. The duty of the shield. Why do we do it? Why take the burden? Because the sovereign is the shield. You take the stress so your team doesn't have to. You take the risk so your family can sleep in peace. You absorb the chaos of the world and you transmute it into order. Your presence, Chapter 3, provides a sense of safety to everyone who follows you. When they see you are calm, Chapter 7, they believe they can survive. When they see you are disciplined, Chapter 11, they believe they can be disciplined. Your life is no longer just about your own happiness. Your life is a service. The king is the first servant of the state. The shadow of the crown. Hubris. The greatest danger to a sovereign is not the enemy at the gates. It is the hubris in the heart. History is littered with leaders who started as sovereigns and ended as tyrants. They began to believe their own press. They forgot to listen to their challenger. Chapter 14. They stopped learning. The moment you think you have arrived, you have begun to fall. True sovereignty requires humility. Not the fake humility of a servant, but the deep humility of a man who knows he is a flawed vessel for a great responsibility. Every night, before you sleep, take off the crown. Look in the mirror. Remind yourself that you are mortal. Remind yourself that you will eventually die and be forgotten. This keeps you grounded. This keeps your judgment clear. The infinite frame sovereignty is not a destination. It is a practice. You do not become a leader and then stop. You are a leader in every breath, in every glance, in every silence. The infinite frame means that you are always being watched, not by others, but by God or history or your future self. Even when you are alone in your bathroom, are you standing like a sovereign? Even when nobody is looking, are you keeping your word? If you cheat in the dark, you will stumble in the light. Integrity is the glue that holds the architecture of presence together. The legacy of the wordless. We started this book talking about commanding respect without saying a word. As we close, realize that your life is the word. Your actions, your consistency, your calm, and your resilience are a language that everyone speaks. People will forget what you said. They might even forget what you did. But they will never forget how they felt in your presence. If they felt safe, if they felt seen, if they felt led. That is the only legacy that matters. Final action plan. The daily coronation. Step 1. The morning standard. When you wake up, do not check your phone. Sit on the edge of the bed. Straighten your spine. Breathe. Box breathing. State your intent for the day. I will be the calmest pulse in every room. I will own every outcome. Put on your armor. Chapter 11. Step 2. The radical ownership audit. The next time something goes wrong today, stop. Do not blame. Ask, how did I allow this to happen? What is my 100% responsibility in this? Fix the problem from that position. Step 3. The gift of presence. At least once today, give someone your absolute undivided attention. No phone, no rushing, no thinking about what you will say next. Just listen, Chapter 5, and look, Chapter 4. Watch them transform under the light of your focus. The narrator's farewell. The room is yours. The stage is set. The people are waiting. You don't need to shout. You don't need to explain. You don't need to plead. Just walk through the door, pause, scan, and lead. You are the sovereign. Now go rule.